Namaste and welcome to the 22nd episode of TeaTalk. This is your host, Dr.Shilu. And today I have a very special guest whom I was supposed to bring on the 11th episode, but somehow, we did everything, but my computer crashed and I was not able to save the file. So I feel sorry. At that time, looking back, I was almost to the point of tears, not for me, but for my special guest. But now, if I look back, I have a smile on my face because from that day, I learned something, and that becomes a valuable lesson for me. So I won't be repeating the same mistake again, and that kind of made me, uh, I don't know, better on handling technology. So thank you for that. So
Mhm.
let me welcome a very special guest, New Zealand born mm, beauty with brain, I would like to say, and our emerging yet vibrant entrepreneur, Shailisha. Welcome, Shailisha.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me back here again for round two.
Oh my God, I feel so sorry that day and like, for you, for your time and everything. And
Yeah, no, it's okay.
thank you again. Yeah. Okay. Uh, Today, I want to hear all from you. So tell us a little bit about your journey. Especially, I want to focus on the on your entrepreneurial side. So the choices that you made, bringing you to where
Mhm.
you are today.
Yeah. So sorry, the internet connection is just a bit bad, but just the choices that kind of brought me to like where I am today. I guess my entire life I've always just kind of been in the pre-med route. I've always wanted to just kind of stick to science and kind of just go into medical field. That was the original plan growing up, but I guess when I moved from New Zealand to America, I guess like I just saw a lot more like different opportunities here, and I got to really tap into myself and really see the things that I like doing, especially during the COVID time. That's when I kind of figured these things out. But yeah, if I'm talking about like how I got into like the business and like just to be an entrepreneur itself, it was completely spontaneous. It was nothing I ever planned. But I guess that just because I grew up with a lot of entrepreneurs in my family, subconsciously it was kind of like, like in me, I guess, and like just something that like I'm like just not naturally, but something that was just in my environment, which I kind of absorbed into myself growing up. The biggest, like, I guess, entrepreneur in my life that I know of is my dad. So I guess just seeing him just being self-employed all the time and having his own businesses and stuff, I guess I was just watching that growing up, but never thought anything of it. But it was not until I moved here and I was finishing up my degree in biology, and then I realized that I kind of wanted to tap into some other fields just because I'm super young. I started Kanchiko when I was 21. So it was just, I guess, like just another passion that I kind of wanted to tap into, basically.
Right. Wow. Okay. When you mentioned like two things, first of all, like entrepreneur in your family, and you starting very young, right? You are a founder of
Mhm.
Kanchiko, and I do understand like being a researcher of entrepreneurship and all that. Those who come from the entrepreneurial family, they have the kind of like they grasp it fast, right? And they grow well. And they move faster. I mean, that is what research says. And as you said,
Mhm.
that you kind of like got all those ideas and everything uh, that kind of made who you are also like shaped in a
Mhm.
direct way. But having said that, at the other side, I mean, you have chosen kind of like non-traditional, especially in our South Asian culture, like makeup and
Yeah.
all those things. So what was your reaction of your family? I mean, like when you mentioned that you're kind of like going to the medical line and all of a sudden
Yeah.
you go like, what was the reaction? So what was the impression? I would like to talk, I mean, if you can.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. It's not a traditional pathway that a lot of like mainly like South Asian girls would follow. I know it's quite common for a lot of like South Asian like guys to do it. They'll usually study business, and it's kind of expected for them to kind of get into that line, right? But it's not that common for girls. But I guess my parents they weren't against it. They kind of were just like, oh, yeah, just kind of. I think at that time there was a lot of us starting businesses. And this was during the COVID time, so there was like a lot of like young women like Nepali American entrepreneurs coming up and everything. So it was kind of like, I don't know, I guess it was like everyone else was doing it, so my parents were seeing it too, and so they were kind of just like, oh, it's like it must just be a hobby for now because COVID is happening.
Right.
And it was not like I completely dropped my like studying and like education. I still, very much do value that. I am someone that is very studious, so it was not something where I was like, okay, I'm dropping this and I'm completely just doing the business. It was never like that. So my parents were never against it. They were like supportive in the sense that they were just like, okay, yeah, like if it's just kind of like keeping you going on things, then yeah, go for it type of thing. But they definitely didn't know about it through me. I guess like the wave of Kanchiko just kind of like went around. No, I wouldn't say globally, but at least up until Nepal, it reached there before I even knew. And so my auntie in like Nepal like knew about it, and then she's the one that figured out that was me. And then she asked my mom, she's like, "Oh, do you know like Salisa is doing like Kanchiko? Like that's so cool. Like good on her. Like a lot of us are hearing about it here." And my mom was like, "What?" She's just like, "Oh, really?" And then she comes to me and asks me, she's like, what are you doing? Like, is this something you're doing? And then I was just like, oh, yeah, I guess. It was just really awkward because it was just like, it wasn't something that I took seriously either at the time. And like, so for me to even, I don't really like saying things if it's not serious or if I don't see it like progressing somewhere in the future, like to my family at least. It's just like, it was honestly just a hobby. It was nothing more than that for me. So then I kind of like told her about it and she was just like, oh, okay. And it was just very different because I have two older sisters and my sisters like both like obviously didn't really do anything like that, and so then it was kind of just like something very different in this family, and everyone was just like everyone just had like a very neutral reaction. It wasn't like it was anything crazy, it wasn't anything exciting. So I think it was pretty fine.
See, I mean, like when you mentioned the reaction of your mom, I mean, the last time, the recent post I saw in the social media was she was very proud posting the pictures when you
Mm-hmm.
were doing your first launch of the design wear, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it was really a big thing to get into that Denver fashion. So, and it
Yeah.
was, oh my God, you did that, right? Even from me, like from
Yeah.
outsider perspective. So when you presented the news, when it came from like Nepal and elsewhere, when your Kanchiko was already popular, I would say, right? So
Yeah.
giving that news or coming that news to the family was kind of like nice because it was, I mean, it was something like you already have proved that you can do, right? And but
Right.
I don't know, things maybe, I mean, like it would be a little bit different if you have shared first versus
Mm-hmm.
coming the news from outside, but that's a positive news. So having said that,
Yeah.
I can understand that. I mean, they like as your family, they would know you as a like go-getter, doer, right? Action oriented versus like talk, and that is the
Yeah.
one the key quality of the entrepreneur, right? And you
Yeah, no,
have
I definitely agree with that. In terms of like, I don't really like talking too much about things that I want to do. I would rather just show because I just feel like actions speak louder than words.
to
Um, and you can like, I know like it's very powerful to say that, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Like, this is what I want to do. But at the same time, I'm just like, I would rather just like show it. But my family is more so like, tell us what you're doing, like we want to know. But I'm just like,
like
I don't know what I'm doing too, like I'm just figuring it out. And then it's just like only when I see something like happening, that's when I like to be like, okay, hey guys, like this is happening. So like with like my auntie finding out in Nepal, like that was almost like an overnight situation because one of
wow.
my yeah, it was almost like an overnight situation, which took me by surprise too, because it was just like one of my TikToks, because like I do a lot of like marketing on TikTok, because that's like obviously like the biggest social media platform these days. So yeah, one of my TikToks literally just blew up like to 500,000 overnight. And
Wow.
so then that's how I kind of got like a lot of traction. And that's so it really was an overnight situation where like I didn't expect someone in like my auntie in Nepal to like find out and tell my my mom. So but whereas for Denver Fashion Week, I knew about it and it was something that I knew that was going to be really big. So then I definitely did tell my parents like months in advance, not months, but like a month in advance when I agreed to do it, and made sure everyone took off leave and everyone had to come to the event and everything. So I guess like now that I know that like this is potentially going somewhere, like so if there's like events like that or like I'm coming out with something new, I definitely do keep like my family in the loop now because they are interested. And even just like within, I live in Colorado, so even like here, like people like the aunties that we meet, like they know about it too. So then you know, they'll kind of just like ask me about it in front of my parents now. Like today I was at like an Easter like event, and one of the aunties was asking about like how my Dinner Fashion Week show went in front of my parents, and like now it's more open, like it's something that I can like openly talk about because like I know that like it's something that I have created, whereas before it was just like not, I don't know, I guess before it was just more like a little hobby that I was doing, but I'm
Right.
like taking it a bit more seriously like now that like more people are recognizing it.
Yeah, definitely. And that was really a big step too, like in the fashion, because you're not only presenting your hobby. No, at this point, it is not hobby. I mean, you have proven yourself as I don't know, successful, I must say, a complete entrepreneur, because when you're showcasing your design, you're not presenting yourself, but other girls, like who share the same
Mhm.
passion, probably, who share the same interest, and bringing them together, not only you, but bringing all of them together and presenting that. That's really something, I mean, very noteworthy. And I congratulate you for that, because that is,
Thank you so much.
and so from your parents' side or from your family side, since this platform is to talk about family and career together, I do understand,
Mhm.
because as a mom, I mean, like, I do understand if my kids surprise me with something, right? But
Yeah.
knowing you guys, I mean, knowing that our kids' generation, and we know kind of like a strength and weaknesses of our kids, right? So when
Yeah.
they when they do something at that time, and parents, of course, they will support, and that was seen on the, I mean, presence of all of your family members at Dental Fashion Week. So I do totally agree from your parents' side,
Mhm.
from your side as well. So having said that, what are tell us about some of the rewards and challenges choosing this entrepreneurial path from,
Yeah. No,
I mean, yeah.
yeah, definitely. Definitely. There's been a lot of challenges. I think the biggest challenge of all is just me as a person. I'm not that patient. I'm very impatient. So being an entrepreneur, you do have to be like the biggest thing is that you have to be patient. You're gonna have times where like you know you have like you work consistently like on a collection and say I work 2 months and I burn myself out, and then I'm like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, and then like you kind of just like stop and you have like this creative block. So it's like, but it's like this is all a process within like an entrepreneur. Like it's just part of the process. Something that I look back on now, I didn't even think that I would be carrying this on like a year and a half, like not like a year and a couple months later. Like I thought I would just do it for like a couple months and that's it. But I've definitely taken like long breaks, like 4 months where I won't be doing anything, I won't be selling anything. I'm not technically on a break right now, but I'm still trying to figure things out right now. But a lot of it is just patience and like kind of trusting the process, I would say. Um, a lot of the times when you're coming out with like a collection or just like in general, anyone who has a business, like you have so many different prototypes, right? And like so
Yeah.
many ideas, but you can only choose like, you know, what is like sustainable to your own budget as well. Like obviously I want to release my whole collection, but it's not like financially
Right.
like smart for me to do that. So a lot of it a lot of it is like patience and kind of just figuring out what your audience likes. But then at the same time, like with my business at least, it's like an embodiment of myself and my two identities. I always make sure that like I'm representing like what I want to be like shown out. So like I know sometimes with at least with fashion, like what I wear, you like you know, and not everyone's gonna wear that. So I kind of have to like keep that in mind as well. Even if I love it so much, like I just have to be like, okay, but would this realistically sell? Like, so it's just like being able to like think different like directions. I say was pretty challenging, but something that you kind of learn over time. But some of the rewards is definitely the feedback I get. Girls messaging me. So like before, this was just mainly fashion. It started off as from that a lot of girls were messaging about like how like my products made them feel more confident and like they just were like kind of stepping out of the comfort zones. So that's really rewarding to hear, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, okay, I did that. Like I kind of like helped you in a way, like, and you know, like just a lot of gratitude I get back and you know give out as well. And so I think this is one of the biggest rewards. And then definitely, yeah, like as I progress on, like just making like bigger moves, as in like doing something like Dinner Fashion Week, like that was a big reward. And then just all the like interviews, like doing this is one of my rewards as well for doing something that big as well. So I guess it's just kind of like the exposure of it all. And then I don't know, I guess just like looking like if I like just zoom out, it's just like, okay, yeah, okay, I'm 23 and I have like this whole like business yet. And I also just completed my degree as well. So it's just like that proudness feeling within myself as well, I guess.
Okay. you touched a little bit about like your presence in social media, TikTok and whatnot. Right? So tell us a little bit
Mm-hmm.
about your generation and the presence of social media. So how do you kind of like, how do you kind of balance your social media presence, your role as a daughter, your role as an entrepreneur, and your role as a student? So how do you balance all
Yeah.
these?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely difficult. I'd say I've actually taken a break off TikTok for like I'd say like at least like 5 months now. Just because it does like our generation, obviously we're very tech savvy and like social media is our life. So it's really hard to like separate reality and like what you see on like social media and stuff like that. So um when I kind of like started the business, like obviously all my sales and all my attention was coming through TikTok. So like every morning I would wake up and like, okay, how many views did I get? Like how many followers am I getting now? Like it was kind of, now that I look back, it's kind of crazy, like the schedule that I was on, and like it was just consuming my mind like so much. And like I think it's very common though with people like with a lot of people who like are like gaining like a lot of followers like meet like just out of nowhere. Of course it's exciting and like you're just like, oh my god, yay, but like um then it comes to the point where you're like, okay, how do I keep these followers? Because I keep your followers engaged, like your everything just drops. So it's very like, yeah, it's just like it just depends on like how much time you give it. Whereas so I obviously have my own personal social media for like myself and my friends and how I keep connected to everyone. But like so it's like having like two sets of like social media accounts was just so like I guess overwhelming, because I'm like constantly, and then like I'm still communicating with my friends on my other social media, and then it was just getting so intertwined and everything to the point that like I actually just deactivated everything but like the business accounts. I just deactivated everything because I was like I just need a break and like I need to take time off. And um mainly with the Kanchiko TikTok, I literally just posted for the first time like after like 5 months like this week, because I'm like, okay, like I think I'm like ready to kind of get back onto it, and kind of just put like the business and the brand back out there into the world. But it's something I'm still learning to do, just because like you just have to be on top of the trends in order to like get your videos out there. So it's really hard because you have to be on TikTok to like see what's new and everything. But I think at the end of the day, it's just about balance and like kind of like setting boundaries and like disciplining yourself on like like how long should you spend on like this app. And like I even have like the thing on my phone now where it's like it will tell me, okay, you've been on this app for too long, right? And then it just like kind of like shuts off,
Yeah.
because like I really have to do that because it's just bad, like honestly. But yeah, it's just being it's definitely a balance. I'm still figuring it out, but I've definitely been good at like not kind of like letting myself like just be consumed by social media too much.
Definitely. And what is one thing about you that people like your circle, your generation in social media do not know about entrepreneur Celesta or your family?
Hmm.
Like in friend circle, what is one thing that is kind of like to your own? I don't know, you do in your free time, but you love doing, right?
Oh, just like what I do, like.
Yeah, or something that your other circle do not know, probably. Uh,
Okay.
and
So like what I do in my free time or just like.
free time and something
Okay.
like as your hobby if you enjoy doing something and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely have a lot of things I do outside of like working on like Kanchiko, and like outside of like because I do work full time as a medical lab tech. So outside of that, I'm a heavy journalist. So I love to journal, and I read a lot of books as well. So like that's what I kind of do in my spare time to kind of like wind down. Majority of the time I am talking to my friends though, just because my friends are halfway across the world. So like we're like 6 hours apart. So it's like whatever chance I get to like speak with like my best friends and stuff, like I will do that and make time. But if I'm not doing that, then yeah, definitely I'm in my room, winding down. I work full time, so it's like I really don't have that much time at night because you come home after work and you just have to eat dinner, shower, and then have 2 hours, and then you have to go back to sleep. Like so, it's like I
Yeah.
am on like a schedule, but that's why I like give priority to like journaling and like just kind of like reading at the end of my day.
That's really a great point you brought because I mean, seeing you as a very busy person outside, like in the entrepreneurial world, but at the same time, you keep your time for journaling. And at the same time, I'm really impressed that you take time to actually call to your friends, right? Because in this
Hmm.
platform, also like Sati talk, like sometimes more than TikTok, we need actual TikTok more. We need TeaTalk too. That is what
Yeah.
share, right? So, and you
Yeah.
can call to your friends one-to-one basis. That is really something that we need to go back to as well. And I'm impressed that you are already doing that. So,
Yeah.
so any messages to your generation and also to parents' generation, if there is, I would say, regarding
Mhm.
the career choice of the kids and for your generation, because you have already marked your footprint, I would say, right? And you have already started something in such a young age and
Mhm.
created your own brand, right? So
Yeah.
you have accomplished quite a bit in this young age. So what is your message to your generation, also to the parents' generation?
Yeah. So it's quite difficult. But I think like a common thing, even like a lot of my friends have told me as well, because they'll just be like, hey, like I really want to start like this like art business or like, doing this, but like my parents is gonna think otherwise. Just because we're all kind of like, I'd say like just having immigrant parents, it's really important to the ones I know at least. It's really important that you kind of get a degree and just are very like into your education and everything.
Sure.
So um I would say like to at least the people of my generation, carry on with the degree, whatever you're doing. I think it's still really important to have your education. Um and like just having that knowledge is just really important, and that discipline you get from studying. But if you have like a fun hobby you want to do or something you want to try out, like you can always start it on the side. Like
Sure.
it's not like it's gonna take so much of your time. You just really know how to balance it out. And like if you like it enough, it won't feel like work. Like it's just gonna be like a fun thing to do. Whereas for the parents, it's a bit different. It's a different story. Um, you can either take my route and not tell them and like someone else tell them, or you can be better than me and tell them like, hey, like this is just like something I'm doing, and but it's like I'm still going on with whatever I'm doing, but this is just something I'm doing on the side. And majority of the time I think parents would be okay with that, because it's just like, okay, yeah, it's just another hobby, and realistically they're not going to take you seriously until they see something. So if you want to like tell them like immediately, go for it, or if you want to wait like me and when something is actually big enough where you think that they should like know, then definitely tell them. But I feel like if you're just scared and not wanting, and like kind of scared of like what your parents would think, I'd say like don't let that stop you. Definitely. Eventually your parents will come around, and it's not like you're doing anything bad. You're just kind of like broadening your horizons and kind of tapping into new ideas and passions of yours. So definitely, yeah, definitely go for it, I would say. Yeah.
Definitely, yes, because as you said that you are doing nothing wrong, and as long as you know what you are doing, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is that if you are doing something and you're unsure of it, just always ask yourself, like, am I doing something wrong? Like with anything. That's like what it's like one of like the biggest like advices, and like you know how like your parents will like, always say something and that kind of like sticks with you. Like my dad will like always tell me, he'll be like, if like whenever you're doing something or you're unsure, just always ask your heart and ask your mind, and you'll get that answer. And so then that's what I always do. And so yeah, like it literally will tell you if you're doing something wrong or not. Like you will know. So yeah.
Any mentor in your life, like someone who guided you when needed? So mentor or any ideal that you remember, or I mean,
Yeah.
who,
Yeah, definitely. Of course, my family, they've always like been there for me, and like, just naturally my two older sister are like my mentors to me. Definitely follow through in their footsteps. And my friends, definitely I would say that they're like big mentors to me. They're always listening to me, like at least like my best friends and everything. I would definitely say you're one of my mentors as well. Definitely helped me in some times where I needed like a little extra push here and there. And I don't have like someone that I look up to in terms of like for like an entrepreneur business. I know a lot of people do, but I don't exactly have one. This kind of sounds weird, but I guess it's like I kind of just envision myself in the future of who I want to be, and like
that's great.
the person I
Okay.
want to be. So I kind of just look up to my future self that I'm envisioning as my role model. If that makes sense. um,
That is the most powerful thing that I mean I would churn out from this entire conversation, and I wish you all the best for that, because yes,
Thank you.
envisioning yourself like 10 years from today, right? That's realistic.
Yeah,
People look up to, and definitely because you are your own competitor, right? So you don't have
yeah,
to compete with anyone else. So yeah, you can
yeah.
really.
That's I 100% agree with that. And definitely just circling back to social media, like there's so many entrepreneurs out there, so many small Nepali American businesses out there too. And I definitely can be like, oh my God, like why isn't my business like this? Like why isn't it like this? But like I don't do that. I'm just like everyone has their own journey and their own pathway. And so then that's why I don't know, I really just thought about this. Someone did ask me this question and I was just like, this sounds, I don't know if it sounds like really like pessimistic or just kind of like vain, but it was just like I really just look up to myself of who I want to be and just kind of like stick to that vision, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, one thing I would just like to add, because as you mentioned that you journal as well, right? And for
Mm-hmm.
me too, I have like kept my journal like since I was in grade 6 or 7, right? So last
Yeah.
3 years or more, I have been every day, I have been continuously writing my journal. So when you said that I look up to myself, or in that journaling, you will see your differences, your growth and all whatnot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, that is kind of your guiding, I don't know, guiding,
Yeah.
I'd say. So
No,
yeah.
yeah, that's yeah, I guess like that is part of the reason I do it too, because it's cool to like look back into memories for me as well. When I do go back in like old journals, I did have them from when I was 12, but when I moved here, like I had to throw them out because I couldn't take everything. But just the journals I have kept and stuff, it's like nice to see like my mindset growth as well, more importantly. And I guess just like yeah, definitely a lot of manifesting in terms of like who I want to be in the future and just kind of keeping that growth mindset that's really important to me. So yeah.
Definitely. Okay, thank you so very much, because of what you have shared, that would be kind of inspiration to many other girls and entrepreneurs who want to
Hmm.
pursue a path, right? Not only to
Hmm.
that, but even for parents to understand as well, right? I mean, if your heart is into something, just go for it. And asking your heart if you are doing something right, I mean, it will guide you obviously, and then universe itself will
Yeah.
path for you, right? As say so, and you
Yeah.
on that, and you have long way to go to. And as you have mentioned that you have some of the very great qualities that entrepreneur needs, like journaling, reading, keeping up with your social media presence, as
Yeah.
continuing your study and like focusing on that. So you're doing everything that needed to be done, and you have a long way to go. So my wishes are with you, and thank you
Thank
for
you
your
so
time
much.
coming to this platform today and sharing about your journey, and yeah, being part of it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate you having me here. It was really fun talking to you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.